Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today we will get all the details about this year's 88th annual Quincy Bay Race Week Regatta. It's coming up next weekend. First, though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, we have hazy sunshine, 83 degrees. Right now, today will turn out with a mix of sun and clouds. Highs only in the mid-80s. It'll be the coolest day of the week. Lows tonight drop off to about 70. We begin probably what will be a 3-day heat wave tomorrow. A heat advisory goes into effect at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning with temperatures in the mid-90s. It feels like temperatures exceeding 100 degrees. Same thing on Wednesday, hot and humid conditions, and I think the heat wave will persist into Thursday. The high Thursday around 90 degrees. A little bit of relief here on Friday and over the upcoming weekend, but until then, the heat is on. 83 in Quincy right now. Checking out the news for you today, City of Quincy and the town of Milton are working together to create a joint 911 dispatch center at the new Quincy Public Safety Complex on C Street. In a press release, officials say the new center would handle all 911 calls for police, fire, and EMS from both communities, resulting in faster response times and cost savings and revenue opportunities. The communities have been awarded an $8 million state grant to create the new center, with $7 million being used to install the infrastructure, $470,000 for the salaries of a civilian director, deputy director, and information technology specialist. Now, the statement goes on to say that the new center would not require additional funding from the budgets of Quincy or Milton. Officials say that new center could be operational in about a year. Well, the Quincy College Foundation has received an anonymous gift of $650,000 to support the college's allied health and technology programs and to expand financial assistance and wraparound services for students who are facing financial hardship. That grant was secured through a collaborative effort between the college's Workforce Development Division and the Quincy College Foundation. College officials say the grant will allow them to create simulated pharmacy laboratory, purchase advanced clinical training equipment such as hospital beds, and establish emergency student support funds to help address financial barriers. Interfaith Social Services of Quincy says they're expanding the hours of their food pantry to accommodate the increase in demand from people who are struggling to make ends meet, effective immediately. The food pantry on Adams Street will be open Monday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. to noon and on Wednesday evenings by appointment. The Greater Boston Food Bank says the number of Massachusetts households facing food insecurity has grown from 19% in 2019 to 40% last year. The agency says another 48,000 children have lost access to SNAP benefits over the past 12 months. Interfaith Food Pantry serves residents of Quincy, Milton, Braintree, Weymouth, Randolph, Holbrook, Hingham, Hull, Scituate, and Cohasset. Pantry saw almost 21,000 visits last year. Well, the public is being asked to help locate a missing man who's been missing since earlier this month. 45-year-old Michael Hanlon was last seen on July 3rd at about 2 p.m. at his work at Center Street Auto Repair. A relative that Hanlon was staying with in Weymouth reported him missing on July 7th. Hanlon is described as a white male, about 5'9", 130 pounds, with grayish-brown hair and blue eyes. Reportedly has tattoos that say Mom on his neck, Charlotte on his right arm, Michael on his left arm. Anybody with information about Hanlon's whereabouts is asked to contact Quincy Police. Free live musical performances on Wollaston Beach have begun with the annual Wally Beach Wednesday shows. Every Wednesday through August 26th, there will be free live music at 6 p.m. on the beach right across from the Clam Box. 60s Thunder kicked off the shows last week. This coming week, it's Pretty Beat Up, featuring music of the 70s and beyond. Other shows will include some Irish music, funk, blues, and some island vibes. The Quincy Chamber of Commerce And Save the Harbor, Save the Bay are co-sponsoring the shows, funded by a grant from the Department of Conservation and Recreation. Other events on Wollaston Beach this year include the Friends of Wollaston Beach Annual Kids Fest on August 9th, beach yoga, children's story time, and plein-air outdoor painting by the Quincy Art Association. Well, a swimming instructor at the Hale Family YMCA here in Quincy is being credited with saving the life of a woman who was in trouble in the water at Wollaston Beach in Quincy recently. Renzi Daly was recently commended by Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch for rescuing the woman earlier this month. Daly says she was just enjoying some ice cream with a friend when she noticed a woman in the water in distress. Quickly swam out, brought the woman to shore, and called 911. The victim was taken to the hospital and was expected to fully recover. In addition to being a swimming instructor, Daly also teaches swim yoga. 10 more endangered sea turtles have been released into the waters off Cape Cod after being treated at the New England Aquarium's Sea Turtle Hospital at the Quincy Shipyard. The loggerhead, green, and Kemp's Ridley turtles were freed last Wednesday after being treated for several months at the Quincy facility. Turtles were about 500 that were rescued from Cape Cod beaches over the wintertime after becoming stranded as the ocean waters cooled. Staff treated the turtles for hypothermia, malnutrition, pneumonia, and dehydration. The turtles were fitted with satellite tracking devices to allow researchers to monitor their movements. 19 turtles are still being treated at the Quincy Hospital. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, Quincy Bay Race Week is coming up later this week. We'll get all the details next. Welcome back. The Quincy Bay Race Week Association keeping up a longtime maritime tradition here in the City of Presidents with the annual Regatta. It's coming up this weekend, and we have two folks here that you may recognize from past programs to tell us about the association and about this year's event. So welcome, please, to John Stewart and Frank Hart. Guys, good to see you both.
Good to see you, Joe.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure always to speak about this. Frank, we are seeing you in front of the camera for a change.
For a change, yeah.
Volunteer here at QATV and crew member on this program. How are we able to do it without you behind the scenes there?
I think you brought a robot in this time. I thought I saw a strange-looking dog walking around.
But a true testament to your commitment to getting the local programming out to the community, but in particular about this particular event and about the association. So, John, I thought we could maybe start with you, if that's okay.
Sure.
President of the association, right?
I am this year, yes.
Yes. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
That.
It's almost over.
And for folks who aren't aware, although it's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, 89 years. This is our 89th year, and you know, there's a lot of elders that kept it in place for decades, and I've been involved almost 30 years now, and it's a rewarding thing to do.
Yeah.
You know,
What's
you see
the history
kids.
of the association itself?
It was originally 5 clubs, and that was Squantum, Wollaston, Quincy, Town River, and
Marymount.
Marymount. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. You know, there are 8 now.
Right.
South Shore is involved, and Metropolitan and Braintree Yacht Club, and of course Marymount went away years ago, but they're still thought of, and you know, we appreciate their help.
Sure.
Keeping this thing together.
Yeah, and so these individual yacht clubs kind of got together, what, 1937?
Yes, and
said,
you know, they basically to perpetuate their own existence, you know, make the kids learn how to boat, and it's something you can do as a family forever.
Right.
And my children get into it, and my son raced and became an instructor, and it was great for my family. He now owns a boat, and we get to have let's fix things discussions as opposed to a father-son.
But that's kind of that's the bigger picture, right? Is
it
education.
Is. We're caretakers.
Yeah.
You know, when I look at the clubs, I consider it. It was here before us.
Yeah.
Somebody had the gall to start it and to put it in place and run it for decades, and we're custodians. Leave it better than you found it when we're done.
So was it 2 things that kind of happened, John? Was it the association was formed and then you had the first regatta also?
I believe it happened together.
Okay.
The first year was, you know, the 8 clubs getting together, or the 5 at the time, and saying, we challenge you.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
the definition of two
Friendly.
boats going in the same direction, it's a
friendly
race.
challenge, right? And make it a race, yeah, exactly. But it's kind of developed from something that was already in existence on the North Shore, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've been racing for years, and the clubs, what it really does, it's a farm team for the next generation of kids coming through, or adults.
Right.
If I look on the wall at Town River Yacht Club, for example, probably 2/3 of the last 20 years of Commodores came through the juniors program and sailed, and grew to love boating through sailing.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And to see the kids, day one, they're spinning in circles and have no idea what they're doing, and 2 weeks later, they're superstars, and
Right.
They get it. They're all alone. They have to figure it out. There's no phone. There's no, you have a coach out there helping you, but at the same time, learning how to adjust your boat to the wind and to the current, and it can be difficult for the kids, and you see them. They come into their own, and they gain a little bit of self-knowledge as to where they are, and it's great to watch. It's humbling.
I would think it'd be very rewarding to see
They don't
the
realize
next
they're in school all
generation
summer.
step up. Right, exactly.
They're learning everything from the environment to math, and bringing up 10 degrees, drop it down 10 degrees.
Right.
The wind, adjust your boat to the wind and to the water.
And teamwork as well, right? And
It is.
camaraderie and
It is, and,
communication.
And you'll see some of the kids who may not be in the same schools together, and
Yes.
they know each other better than they do at school.
That's right, yeah. So it's a bigger picture. And
is.
Frank, you're nodding your head the whole time because you've
Oh, yeah.
experienced the same thing.
No, there was a meeting in 1937 of the 5 clubs, and 1938 they held the first regatta. But they weren't the first to race in Quincy Bay, like you say. There's been racing going on there. Quincy Yacht Club was one of the first ones in the area. They just celebrated their 150th last year.
Wow, yeah.
And so there was racing going on, in the bay and out into Quincy Bay, Massachusetts Bay, with a little bit larger boats. But they brought this Quincy Bay Race Week Association together then. And in all its years, they've only missed 2 regattas, one during World War II and one during COVID.
Right. Yeah.
And that was it. Other than that, it's been held every year.
That really is a testament to the importance, I think, that it holds in people's lives, but also, in the rich history of maritime tradition here in the city, which dates back well before then, even.
Oh, yeah.
For something to last for so long, through so much turmoil, and still be very popular, speaks volumes, I think, to its importance.
Yep. And I want to thank QATV for helping with when we put that 16 millimeter tape from the 1965 regatta together and digitized it, and it's out on the QATV website now. You should be able to find it there. So if anybody wants to see what regatta looked like in 16 millimeter film back then,
yes.
they're welcome to view it.
Well, it's a great piece of Quincy history, right?
It is,
yeah. We're happy to help preserve it as well. So, John, let's talk about this year's regatta. It's only 2 days this year, right, instead of 4 days.
Yes, normally we do the outside line on the weekends, and the juniors, the inside line, the smaller boats on a Thursday, Friday. But because of the tall ships and because of the 3rd of July and the way everything dropped in together, the police marine units were a little bit stretched. We always coordinate with them because they are our safety on the water, and they keep an eye on these kids and help us out greatly with boat traffic and just minimizing putting the kids in line of fire.
Yeah. So it was a logistical decision.
Yeah, we bend to them. We call them and make sure that we coordinate and satisfy their needs.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's July 18th and 19th.
Yes,
right.
It's over at Town River Yacht Club this year, inside, and it'll be a fun weekend. It always is. I mean, the kids. We end up with those clubs, and we usually have visitors from other clubs. Oftentimes, the city sailing program will come over from Blacks Creek. Some of the North Shore boats will come down.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
okay.
Cottage Park and some of those clubs will send down sailors. And
okay.
Every once in a while, we'll get the Charles River boats to come along, and the kids don't get out of the river very often and don't. Right. They race each other, but they don't race others.
True.
And
different experience too on the ocean.
It is, yeah. Than the river, certainly. There's different currents and different winds.
Yes, yeah. So it's 2-day event, as I mentioned, July 18th at Town River. That's the inside line, which
18th
is
and 19th.
Which is what? Tell me about the inside line first at Town River.
Yeah, the inside line. smaller boats, they're the children's boats. They start off with the turnabouts and the optimists, go to lasers, eventually up to 420s. The widgeons are sailed by the city of Quincy and Blacks Creek, which are a little bit bigger boat with more people on it. And Quincy has one or two of those as well. So each of the different styles of boats has their own race and categories and awards.
Okay.
So they start off in a small bathtub and work their way up.
Yeah, so this is one design racing, Joe, they call it.
What is it? One design
One
race?
design racing. So every boat in the race is the same boat. It's not like they're competing against different types of boats.
This is the inside line we're talking about.
And to some extent the outside
Oh,
line
okay.
too, but we'll talk about the inside line. But just because it's one design racing, so the kids are racing. If you're in an opti, you're racing against other optis.
I see, okay.
And then they have different levels of experience within the optis and the N10s, the turnabouts. So you might be, if you're new to it, you're racing against other people that are new to it.
I see, okay.
And you're not racing against people that are more experienced than you
so
are.
Really keep a level playing
to try to
field.
keep it level, yeah.
Very good. So what time does the July 18th Town River Yacht Club inside line race begin?
It begins about 10 a.m.
10 a.m.?
9:45 to 10.
Okay.
There's a skipper's meeting from 8 to 9, and they'll head out after that.
Okay.
And the registration also.
Yeah. Okay. And when when we talk inside line, outside line, I guess we should explain to folks what that means. You know, it's not, there's not an actual line driven in the water. It's an imaginary line, right?
They set up buoys.
Yes.
The race marks,
Yes.
and that depends upon the wind directions.
Okay.
And they usually race like down and back, I believe, John, for the inside line.
Yeah, it varies. Sometimes it's triangle, and sometimes straight line. They call the straight line the sausage. The kids do, and it's triangle sausage, or
okay.
they have their own terms.
Now. Yeah, very good.
What are we selling today? Triangle sausage.
Okay. So, but from a viewer's perspective, should they go to the Town River Yacht Club to watch it?
They're welcome to come along, and the back deck. This year, it's happening in front of the club, so they.
Okay.
You have a really good place to watch.
Yep.
If they want to get out on the docks and watch, they're welcome to do that as well.
Okay. Where else would it be a good vantage point?
Many go out on the water. If you have an inflatable boat, or you can go out and watch your kids out there. I'm usually in the race committee as well, so I'm out in the water, and again we adjust the line and the course based on the wind, and set up. The first leg is always into the wind, so you set the course with, have the kids work up to the wind on the first leg, and then make the corner and put up a chute if you have one, a spinnaker sail. Some of them sail with a spinnaker, some do not. So that's the belly sail that you see out there that's usually brightly colored.
Oh, okay. So it starts at 10. What time does it end?
It varies. It depends on how many races we can get in. We try to get 3 to 5 in.
Okay.
We like to give the kids at least 3 a day so that they have a throw-out race, so to speak. If we have enough races in, then they can pick one, whatever their worst race is, they drop. And,
okay.
Gives them an opportunity to, use their best finishes as their scoring ones. Sure.
And how many boats per race, John?
It varies. Overall, there were years when we had hundreds, and that's kind of dropped down over the years, through COVID and some of the things that we had. But there's 30 to 50 on the water.
Okay, so it makes quite a spectacle, I'm sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's a lot of different age groups and a lot of different levels of knowledge on the water.
Yeah, and how many young sailors participate, would you say, just roughly?
Probably 70. Some of the boats have 2 to 3 people on them, and there's more than one. The widgeons in particular, they'll have 3 to 5 people per boat. The 420s usually have 2 to 3, and then lasers, optimists have singles, and the turnabouts usually 2.
Okay. And this is a race.
Oh yeah,
It's a race.
Two boats going in the same direction. It's a race.
Right. What's the prize for the winner?
They get trophies basically and bragging rights.
Exactly.
If there's one young lady who bumped over in front of West Augusta one year into Bass Rock, and no one's hit it since, so it's still her rock, Christina's rock. So there's bragging rights, and there's also, a little bit of competition in there that you hit the rock.
Friendly rivalry, right?
It is. It is. It's fun to watch, and the kids make it their own. Every year is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's humbling.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. And is there an event at the yacht club after the inside line?
Yes, we'll have the awards, and then also we have a scholarship ceremony. We have some great benefactors who help us out Quincy, Liberty Bay Credit Union in particular has been with us for years.
Very nice.
Some of the older members who have the ability have donated scholarships as well. There's one out of Braintree Yacht Club, Frank Heron. The estate of a gentleman from Squantum, Henry Lamb. And Henry was an engineering teacher down at Mass Maritime, and he watched these kids in the water all summer, and then he went and taught them all winter.
How about that? Wow, yeah.
And he worked hard to make sure a lot of them completed their school.
Yes.
You know, he was the man. He helped a lot of these kids out, and you watch, and he's still helping them out. You know, he's not here any longer.
Through a
and,
scholarship, right?
You know, it's humbling to. And his family, his children have stepped right in and done the same thing. It's very, very nice of them to do it.
Legacy.
But
yeah, very nice.
without them, we wouldn't be where we are.
Sure. So let's talk about Sunday, July 19th at Wollaston Yacht Club, outside line.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are a little bit bigger boats, mostly adults.
Okay.
They do the Thunderbirds and the Hustlers. And we're also doing a
Well, they're doing
PHRF
starboats.
Starboats?
That's true,
Yeah,
too.
starboats actually. They usually come over. They come from Cottage Park. They usually come over and have a race on Saturday. They don't do Sunday. The Hustles will race Saturday and Sunday. Thunderbirds will race Saturday and Sunday. Depends how many show up. But, the Hustler class has been around for over 100 years.
Wow.
You know, it was very big in Quincy Bay, and they're still out there. So
Now, are these boats, handmade boats? Are these wooden hull boats? You know, what's the...
at one time, yes.
At one time?
Now,
Yeah.
No, now they're fiberglass.
Okay, all right.
Although, yeah, the Thunderbirds. I mean, there was some Thunderbirds that, until fairly recently, were plywood wooden boats
Wow.
that had fiberglass over them.
Oh, I see.
Over
Okay.
the plywood, but they're pretty much all fiberglass now.
Sure, okay. Yeah.
And with the kids, the turnabouts, there are still some wooden ones out there.
I bet.
There are,
Yeah.
and you know, they were designed locally up in the North Shore, and
Neat.
you know, the N10s. Then there were a couple different variations, the Duplins and
Duplins, yeah.
and you know, the differences between the boats are so minute, and yet some hold those minute differences to be very important.
Oh, I'm sure. There's
Yes.
all kinds of sailing lore, right?
There's a little bit of different weight. There's
Yeah.
a little bit of different. You know, it's interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And
But there's a lot of skill involved. I mean, this is tremendous seamanship at its best. Really.
There is.
You're not relying on power or anything. You know,
Right.
you are it. Yeah.
and when the wind turns you over, you know, the kids got to.
Figure out how to get back up, right?
That's it. You know, get out there, jump up and down on the end of the centerboard, and try and pull it back up. And that's if
do
the tip of the mast isn't in the mud.
Oh, then you're really in trouble. Yeah. But as you said, the Quincy Police Marine Unit is there to
They
assist.
are, and they are they're just a very special group of people.
Yeah.
You know,
So we usually get Quincy and sometimes the Weymouth.
Yep, and Braintree has shown up.
That help as well. Yeah.
So
Excellent.
the kids meet the police on a different level. You know,
Correct.
it's nice that, you know, they're being pulled out of the water by them. They're, hey, who are you?
Right. Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess they learned at that point too that the boating community, John, is a very tight-knit community, right?
It is.
I mean, police, you know, starter sailors, you're all out there together.
And
in
if
the
you
same
see somebody with an issue, you stop and give them a hand.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
There's
safety
no question
first.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
What time does the outside line races start on Sunday?
Outside line racing will be starting about noon.
Noon time. Okay.
They're out of Wollaston Yacht Club,
Yep.
so
Right behind you there is a picture of it.
Yeah, sure. Anywhere on the beach to be
You can
able to see it.
see
It'll be
it.
out towards Hangman's Island.
Okay. Yep.
Is where they have it, and they're planning 2 races on Saturday and 1 on Sunday, and then their award ceremony will be Sunday
At the yacht club?
at Wollaston Yacht Club.
Okay.
But also, we didn't have the summer sails this year,
That's right.
so they're going to do a pursuit race, which is for larger boats, different categories. But there's PHRF, Performance Handicap Racing Formula.
Huh.
So every boat has a rating. So what they do in these pursuit races is you get additional time so that to get around the course because your boat's slower than another boat. So everybody starts at a different time with the idea that everybody finishes at the same time.
Yep.
So that's being held, and that's for the Remick Trophy,
Which is what, Frank?
which is was donated by Frank Remick of Remick's department store.
Oh.
Yeah, and so that's the trophy that goes to that race.
Okay. And that's also on Sunday?
That's just on Sunday.
Just on Sunday?
Yeah.
As part of the outside line?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll start a little, maybe 11:30ish or something like that. They're
Okay.
gonna start that one a little earlier.
Okay.
Get them away, then they can do the one design racing.
Okay. QuincyBayRaceweek.com website to go to,
Yes.
right, to get all the information. And maybe be a donor at some point in the near future, John? I'm
Yeah,
sure
we
it'd be
publish a
helpful.
book as well, which is full of people who want, pull an ad and
Sure.
donate some short money to us, and that is probably our biggest fundraiser.
Is it?
And it's, it's a lot of work to put together,
I'm
but
sure, yeah.
It's nice to get out there and meet all the different people that put the ads in and who care about the kids being in the water and listen to their stories of growing up on the water.
Yeah.
There are links to some videos out on the website too from the previous 2 years
Good to know.
of racing. So,
Excellent.
and we'll be doing videos again this year. And the guy doing the drone, Stefano, said he'll be back and he wants to try to do both the inside and the outside line this
Okay.
year. So
Look for
looking
that.
forward. His
All right.
first time he ever did it was last year, and it was just what he got.
I saw some of the
were
shots.
just
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Give a great
Yeah.
perspective.
He did a
on
great
it.
job.
Yeah.
It's so much different when you're seeing it from the air than when you're on the water.
Oh, yeah.
And I see it from the race committee standpoint.
From the water side, yeah.
And it's
Gentlemen, thank you both. It's been a lot of fun to talk about this. I wish you fair winds and following seas.
Thank you, Joe.
well. Thank you for your time, Joe.
Oh, you're very welcome. Forecast for the rest of the day today, kind of what you see is what you get. Hazy sunshine out there, temperatures in the low to mid 80s. This afternoon, tomorrow, kicks off our heat wave again. Probably a 3-day event through Thursday with daytime highs in the mid to upper 90s and feels like temperatures hotter than that. Thanks again to John Stewart, Frank Hart for joining us from Quincy Bay Race Week Association.
Thank you,
Thank you
Joe.
for your time.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching. Friday here on the program, Margaret LaForest stops by. We'll get you updated on what's going on board the USS Salem at the United States Naval and Shipbuilding Museum. Meantime, check our website, qatv.org. You'll find all of our latest programs, news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.